Hello there everyone. Welcome back to another S2FM tutorial. This time I will be showing you how to import blend shapes or shape keys or sliders or whatever really you want to call them. Now this time I have changed up the video style, so do tell me if you do prefer it like this rather than the screenshot style in my previous videos. Anyway, before we start the video, I just want to mention about a friend of mine. My friend FNAFI94 has helped me a little to be able to import blend shapes. So do check out his channel as he does S2FM animation videos. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description. Just before I start the tutorial, I want to tell you what exactly are shape keys if in case you're not fully sure what they are. Shape keys or blend shapes are sliders for the models that basically deform a surface into a shape or other surfaces. So over here with this model I'm controlling the sliders on the left, and it's basically moving the vertices on the face of this model, creating facial expressions. It can be used as an alternative to rigged faces, and I honestly prefer shape keys more. Shape keys don't just need to work with expressions as well, but can be used to make a bunch of cool tricks which I'll show later in this video. Lastly, before we start the video off, I want to talk about RedEyes SourceIO add-on for Blender. This add-on allows you to import source files into Blender without needing to convert them. So for example, in this video I imported a MDL file instead of using crowbar and turning the character into a SMD file, which is very useful. However, using these different types of model files does result in the mesh coming in different sizes, but I'll help you to know the sizes you need to change the mesh in Source 2 later. However, the process is the same, so just follow through the video. I'll also leave a link to RedEyes add-on in the description for you to try it out as well. Now I imported the model into Blender with SourceIO. I chosen the Freddy kid since I think a human model is best to show, and he was the next character in my list. So firstly I rotate him to make him stand up, as I don't want him to lay down every time I load the model up in S2FM, as it would be very annoying. Make sure to have both the model and rig selected. Also make sure he is leveled on the floor. The way I do all this is rotate and press Ctrl while rotating for the snap axis. Now this time we are going to use DMXs, so you must turn your character 90 degrees to the left so it's facing the red like this. If you're wondering why, it's because in Source 2 when you open a DMX the model would be facing 90 degrees to the right, so this just helps it to be easier to animate with. Check if the model has its shape keys and just make sure they are not messed up like this. Now it's ready to export. Go to the Scene tab and select the Export tab. Also make sure you have Blender Source Tools, or you won't see these options nor will be even able to do this. Select the export path, which should be in a folder inside your Half-Life Alyx models folder. Now back in my first tutorial I said to use SMDs, but now I recommend DMXs. I'm not sure if SMDs have anything special, but with DMX you can use shape keys with them. Choose binary 9 and model 22 and then just press export and export these two objects. Now we need the textures, so open VidFedit and choose the folder where the textures you want are. Remember, the character models texture may be inside a folder in the materials folder called models. Now just convert the whole folder inside a material folder in your Half-Life Alyx folder. When you have everything ready, then open Half-Life Alyx and enter the material doc. I want to talk about RedEyes SourceIO, but later, as I found out something about it. So when you have a fresh file open, just go to Add Meshes and import the DMX in. Save the VMDL as you want and hit compile. Now set up the scale here. So since this model is imported with SourceIO, I'm going to set it up as 60, but I'll talk more about it in the end of the video. Now to make the textures. Go to Add and find the default material group. So in the material editor we're going to start off with the skin. But before that I want to mention that you can change your default shader here, so I recommend changing it to VR Complex. For the actual body we don't need VR Complex, but instead we're going to use VR Skin like this. Go down to the Animations tab and select the morphs to be on. Set the transmission black. Let's give this texture a try before doing the rest. So apply the texture in the model dock and then go to S2FM and load it up. As you see, the sliders are here, and when I move them the model is moving, which means that this model is working. Now let's add all the textures. So in the material editor for the clothes I'm just using VR Complex and adding the normal maps to each texture. You'll skip ahead so you don't need to watch me do the same things over again. I made all the textures and now it's time to apply them. We have an issue. So the eyelashes doesn't have an opacity map for it, however that is fine, as we can go back to the material editor and create a second texture for the body and add it in. Wait, what is this? Okay, so I found out later morph support is also in VR Complex. Now it is better to use VR Skin for, well, skin. I do prefer to turn down the specularity with it, however. Anyway, now go down to translucent and apply the opacity map if wish. I have one here. It's basically a black and white map. Now it's applied, so I can use this second skin texture on the model. As you see, the model is now complete and nearly ready. Now you have to set up the bones like this. Open all the bones. Select all of them. Apply bone markup. Then over here select do not discard. Done. Load the model into S2FM and you shall see that the model is ready to use with all its facial animations in. Now let me give some extra tips, starting with sizes. So when doing it the way I did, which was using SourceIO to get the model, you will need to set the model to 60 in the model dock. However, earlier when I was fixing Freddy's glowing eyes, as the model was imported using decompiled SMDs, I found the size 52.5 to work for me when rescaling the DMX to fit the model, so I think that will be the size to work with when merging SourceIO assets with decompiled SMD models, if that makes sense. Lastly, I think FBXs come up huge sometimes, so I believe the value to change them should be like 0.1 to 0.6, whichever work well for your model you think. Now when using models with shape keys with no skin, then use the VR Complex morph support. If you have an issue like this where sides of the model is missing, then don't worry. Just use VR Complex. Tick render back faces and that will fix the issue like it did for me. VR Skin also features wrinkles, but I'm not sure how to use that yet. Finally, do not use RFBX if you want to add shape keys to it, or it will be messed up like this. Kinda funny how it makes me think of William when being spring locked. Lastly, before I wrap up the video, I want to do a brief summary if in case you are still confused. So first import the model to Blender with either SourceIO or Crowbar. Check for the shape keys and then export the model as a DMX. Convert the textures to PNGs with VTF-Edit. Add everything to your Half-Life alyx addons folder. Import the model to the model dock and change the size if need to. Create the matte in the material editor. If there is any texture resembling skin, then use VR Skin. Apply the textures onto the model. Try out the model in S2FM and enjoy animating with it. That is it for this tutorial. I hope you found it useful. As said in the start, I am changing my video tutorial style and I do think I could have done a better job. Though I need to work on this way a little more. I also hope the new voice was somewhat more helpful than the ones I used in my previous video. However, for the next one I may still change it around to make it even better. Anyway, with it said, if you do find my S2FM tutorials helpful or enjoy my animations, then please do subscribe to my channel and leave a like on my videos. I also have a few plans for the channel coming very soon. See you on the next video.